Welcome back to Crafting with Cami. Today is the third Friday of the month. Every month I collaborate with some crafty friends as we walk our way through the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 book. So this month we are on pattern 16, and these are made for 12 by 12 layouts. So if you look here, we have 3 4 by 6 photos, we have a little 3 by 3, we have 3 by 3s here, and then they show you another example. So they flipped this one around, and they actually flipped this one too. So instead of having that down here, it's up in this corner. So very fun layout. They do a lot of background stamping, it looks like. They even give you some tips on what you can do to spice up your layout, and it gives you all of the measurements. If you've been watching my December daily videos, you know that I am creating a 6 by 8 December daily book. And all month of December, I am focusing on that December daily. So I am going to take that 12 by 12 sketch and turn it into a 6 by 8 layout. I will do a double page just like they did. So in this book, I am using the Reindeer Days collection. So I was kind of looking at these papers to see what I could use. What would tie in nicely, what would accent photos. I don't have my photos printed yet, but hopefully I have those printed for you before this video goes live. So you can see what it'll look like with that. But I'm obviously not going to be able to do 4 by 6 photos, so I am going to shrink those down. I might shrink down the 3 by 3s. We'll see what we have room for. But we do need, they have the teal going across, so I'm thinking a pattern paper and then another pattern paper here, and I'll keep the white and maybe do some stamping. So looking at these pages, these reindeer are going back and forth. They're kind of large, so I don't know that it would work good for a background. Same with these ones. They're just so large. Once my photos get on, I'm going to be covering a lot of them. So smaller icons would probably work better for behind my photos. So these trees would go nice. I've used that paper quite a bit. There's bells on the other side of this. I haven't used this reindeer paper yet, so maybe I can bring that in. And then I have some scraps down here. I've been using this plaid and the holly a lot, so I might try to venture away from that, bring in some other papers. These ones are larger icons again. Same with these. There are some smaller icons along with that. The reindeer, I mean, they're a little bit smaller, but I think it might look a little too busy behind photos. There's that holly again. And then I have these lights with the reindeer on the back. And we have presents with the reindeer on the back. And I think the presents might look a little too busy behind photos as well. So I've kind of narrowed it down to these 3 options. And since I've used these trees quite a bit, let's try to use the reindeer. Let's use the reindeer and the bells. So I'm thinking maybe the reindeer for the long strip going across, and then the bells coming in for the strip of 3 by 3 photos. One thing I like to do when shrinking a sketch is to shrink my photos as well. So these are 4 by 6. I shrunk them to 3 by 4s. So just to play around, obviously it's white on white, so hopefully you guys can see okay. But if I did 2 3 by 4s like this, I could do 1 4 by 6 going horizontal. So I could kind of overlap these a little bit so that I could do photo mats. So I could do something like that. Can you even see that? Or, and then have this one over here along with my strip. But I like to see where everything would go. So I kind of like the idea of offsetting these like this. It keeps it kind of playful. And then I could still fit like a 2x2 here. And then over here, I could have that one straight along with my column of photos. So I like to map my photos. Plus, I'm going to be having the pattern paper show around that strip. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to shrink these to 2x2. I don't think matting my photos and having all of that will fit on the 6. So let's do 2x2 photos. I'll get those cut quick. So I have 4 2x2s. So I'll do that column that they did over here and then have one down with this cluster. I could also substitute that photo for an embellishment if I didn't want that one down there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So now I know how much I have to shrink down my pattern paper that's going to go across, and how far to shrink this. Because if I would have done 3x3s, I wouldn't have had to shrink that as much. In my diagram here, they show that there's 3 inches before the photo or before that pattern paper, and then here 2 3/4. I could just do an inch on both sides, but if I wanted to follow along a little closer, but they do have another strip here. How big is that? That's about a 1/2 inch. So I think I'm just going to center it, and then when I put a strip down there, it'll look closer to the bottom, which I am perfectly fine with. So let's go ahead and cut some paper to go behind, and since this is 8 inches, I'm going to cut it to 6, so I have an inch on each side. Here's 2 6x6 inch pieces. This would be perfect if you had one of the 6x6 paper packs from Stampin' Up. So that'll go there, having an inch on each side. And then now you can see what I was thinking with the papers a little bit better. So I was thinking something like that. And I'm not sure that I love having that extra photo. I might not include that one. And then having my strip here. And having another photo here. So now they have paper behind these 3. So I'm going to use that bell paper, and I might have some scraps. I'm going to go look through those. So if these are 2-inch pieces, and I want to leave a little bit of room going around, I want to tell that they are bells. And in our sketch again, I'm going to keep bringing this in, they have it an inch on each side. So if it's above this pattern paper. So if I do the same, I think probably about a 1/2 inch above and leaving just a little bit. So it'd be like that. And I do like that. It leaves a little bit of white still up here. I'll have white up here. So I do think I like that. So I'm going to cut 7 inches to leave a 1/2 inch on each side. And then let's just do some rough. If I do a little border, probably about 2.5 to leave a border. So 2.5 by 7. So then that'll go there. See why I didn't want that to be 3x3? Look at how close it already is to this one, and we're covering up a lot of those reindeer. Okay, I'm liking this so far. I have to ink around the pattern papers, so I'm going to bring in some early espresso. That should tie into his antlers pretty good. I inked around all of the pattern papers. It gives it just a little more definition and separates these patterns a little bit more. And then I also inked around, and I have it on my hand. Oh my goodness, I'm a mess. Inked around my photo mats. So those can go down, and I know I want this one centered over here. I won't have the room that they had for their journaling. So they have a photo and then their journaling next to it. I'm gonna have to find somewhere else for my journaling. And then I have decided that over here I'm gonna replace this photo with some embellishments, and I think I'll offset these two so that I have, so that I don't have them touching. I could, like I said, replace it for a 4x6 that goes across this way, or I could even bring in one of the 2x2s like that. That'd be another option. So then you could have your embellishment or your title right here. But I think I'm going to stick with this idea, and then these go over here. There is a little bit of ink here, but once I get my photo on, you will not see that. There's not going to be very much of the white showing. I did cut these true 3x4s and 2x2s, so when I print my photos, I'll just need to trim them a little bit. I had said I wanted to bring in a strip of paper down here, kind of like how they did on the example layout, and I'm thinking maybe some glitter paper. This is Pine. It's a close to my heart color. And I am going to need my number as well. And let me find that number. So here's the 20. And that could easily go in either of these spots. If I want a title, that'd probably be a good spot for that. But then I could bring in some more glitter. Or I could bring in some silver glitter paper if I didn't want it to be so bold. But I do kind of like this. I might go with the pine. So I'm just going to cut it off over here. I'm not sure how much embellishing I want to do since I don't have a ton of room and I don't want to hide my background paper so much. They have banners hanging from up here, but I think that is a great spot for my journal, or my title. I think that's a great spot for my title. If I move my 20 over, my journaling could go down here on strips. So I really don't know how much embellishing I want to do. Some banners up here probably wouldn't look too bad. And they do have banners coming from the bottom. So maybe I should do banners from the top over here instead of over here. Just kind of move that and do a nice big title over here. I'm saying here too much. I have the Christmas labels, and Celebrate the Holidays in All the Ways fits on this die here. And this will be, you know, during the holidays. So I'm actually thinking that might be a good title because Celebrate in All the Ways. I think that works. So I am going to grab out that Celebrate the Holidays and cut that out of paper. I might just do that in white as well. Aren't these details so fun? So that'll go up here and then I will get that stamped. And I am going to bring in my real red. That coordinates with this paper perfectly. So then I'm bringing that red over to this side. I just flipped my Versamat over so that I have a good spot to ink on or to stamp on. And bringing in a block here. And I like to season it on my hand, just make sure that it doesn't have any of the manufacturing powder. And if you want to be careful, stamp it off on another piece of paper first. But I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to go for it. I can always cut out another one. I love how juicy this ink pad is. And then I'm going to get my head right over this, so don't mind me. I went around that with the brown ink as well, since I did brown around everything else. So that looks cute right there. And I might do some little sprigs or something coming out of there. That'd be cute. To have a third point of red, I brought that down next to these trees. And I kind of like having the trees sitting on this little ledge here. And then maybe have this coming like that. I could even do a bigger tree. I have this one. Don't want to cover too much of my reindeer, but I do like mixing the sizes. And then I just thought the present kind of finished it off. I do like that, and that kind of brings that over a solid. And that kind of draws your eye over even more than these ones. I got my embellishments down. I did decide to mat this 20 on some red cardstock, and I have red and green in each of my clusters. You could easily do some background stamping on these white spots here, but I think we are good there. And I am going to bring in just a little bit of sparkle. I have clear gems, or I do have the glitter gems still. Let's go glitter because I have, this is glittery, so then that'll bring glitter up into this cluster. Here is the finished layout. We got those gems on there. All we need are our pictures, and I will get those printed and put on here hopefully before this video goes live. Otherwise, be sure to check out my walkthrough and I will have the pictures on there. Here is the example sketch, and here is what I came up with. Be sure to check out the playlist on the screen to see how the others interpreted this sketch. I hope this brought you inspiration to shrink a sketch, and until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye guys.